The jungle slept under a heavy curtain of fog, the kind that seemed alive, shifting, breathing, whispering secrets. Lightning cracked somewhere above the volcano, its glow flashing across the wet leaves like ghostly fire. The air was thick with the scent of sulfur and rot, heavy enough to choke a breath. A group of 5 moved through the mist, their flashlights slicing thin beams through the darkness. At the front walked Dr. Helena Cross, her face half hidden behind a cracked visor. She was a field biologist from Eclipse Biolabs, and for 3 weeks she had been chasing a heat signature that defied logic, something ancient, yet alive. Her handheld scanner flickered again. The readings jumped from normal to impossible in seconds. "The heat signature's moving," she whispered, her voice almost swallowed by the jungle's breath. Then the ground shifted. It wasn't an earthquake. It was slower, deeper, like the heartbeat of something buried below. A low vibration rippled through the soil, shivering through their boots. The birds exploded from the treetops in a flurry of wings and shrieks, and then silence. Every living thing stopped moving. A hiss tore through the stillness. Steam burst upward as the ground cracked open. The team stumbled backward as the fissure widened, spilling light from deep within the earth. Orange, molten light. And then a claw emerged, black and glistening, thick as a tree trunk. Its scales shimmered like cracked obsidian with fiery veins running through them. The claw gripped the earth, dragging something massive from below. For a long, breathless second, no one moved. Then the fog shifted, and they saw it. A shadow rose from the crater, taller than the trees, its body covered in smoke that moved like a living thing. The creature's head tilted slightly, revealing a mouth lined with dagger-like teeth that steamed in the cold air. Its eyes opened, twin orbs of molten amber. Helena's heart froze. "It's not fossilized," she whispered. "It's alive." The monster drew a long, rumbling breath. Smoke poured from its nostrils and mouth, spreading out across the jungle floor like rolling thunderclouds. The fog around them thickened until the soldiers could barely see their own hands. The air grew hotter, suffocating. Something huge moved within the haze. A massive tail swept through the trees, shattering trunks like matchsticks. The sound was thunder wrapped in flesh. "Fall back!" someone shouted. Too late. The beast roared, a sound that didn't just echo. It shook. The roar felt alive, vibrating through their bones, like the earth itself was screaming. For a brief moment, lightning lit up the sky, and they saw it in full. The creature was enormous, a prehistoric titan with a long, sail-like back and a body that seemed forged in fire. Smoke poured from its jaws as if it were exhaling the world's nightmares. Then, as quickly as it appeared, it turned and vanished into the mist, its glowing eyes fading like dying embers. Dr. Cross stood frozen, soaked in rain and terror, her scanner still flickering. The numbers made no sense. The creature's heat wasn't dropping. It was rising. Somewhere beyond the fog, the monster released another roar, distant, yet powerful enough to shake the stars. Helena finally whispered the words she couldn't hold back anymore. "SMOKEFANG, it's awake." Morning arrived without sunlight. The fog still clung to the trees like a living shroud, and even the wind seemed afraid to move. The jungle was silent, unnaturally silent. No birds, no insects, just the distant echo of something large shifting through the mist. At the makeshift command post, soldiers moved restlessly. Their eyes flicked between the fog and the monitor screens, where thermal cameras showed only static. The drones that had flown into the crater last night hadn't returned. Dr. Helena Cross stood beside Captain Rivas, tall, built like a storm, his face half hidden beneath a steel-grey beard. He scanned the tree line through his scope. "Nothing," he muttered. "No movement, no heat. Just smoke." Helena checked her device again. The readings pulsed like a heartbeat. "It's there," she whispered. "The smoke isn't covering it. It is it." That creature creates its own fog. Rivas turned sharply. You're saying it hides inside its own breath? She nodded. Exactly. The smoke confuses senses, blinds vision. It's camouflage, natural and perfect. Before Rivas could respond, the ground trembled. Once, twice, then a deep rumble followed, rolling through the forest like thunder. The soldiers gripped their rifles tighter. Then came the sound. A low growl, deep, metallic, vibrating through the trees. Every man froze. "Contact!" shouted one of the scouts, pointing toward the tree line. Through the fog they saw movement, a ripple, like smoke flowing against the wind. "Eyes up!" Rivas barked. "Weapons hot!" Flashes of black scales appeared between the trees. There for a second, gone the next, the fog thickened around the unit, swallowing them one by one. Then came a scream. A soldier vanished, dragged into the haze so fast he didn't even finish his cry. Another fired blindly into the smoke. The gunfire echoed, but the jungle didn't respond. The air only grew hotter, thicker. Helena's hands trembled as she backed away, her eyes darting through the fog. "It's playing with us," she whispered. "It's hunting." A massive shape moved behind her, silent, patient. Its tail slithered through the smoke like a shadow with weight. Then, chaos. The tail struck, hurling a jeep into the trees. The sound of tearing metal and breaking wood filled the air. Men screamed, scattered, fired wildly. The creature's roar split the sky, so loud it shattered glass and sent birds fleeing miles away. Through the smoke, its eyes glowed, twin embers burning brighter with every breath. The soldiers fired rockets. The explosions lit brief glimpses of its face, a snout lined with jagged teeth, skin rippling like molten rock, and heat radiating in waves. But when the smoke cleared, nothing, only silence, and a faint trail of glowing footprints leading deeper into the jungle. Captain Rivas lowered his weapon. "It's moving toward the ridge," he said, voice hoarse. "Toward the river." Helena followed his gaze. "No, not the river," she said, realization dawning in her eyes. "It's heading for the city." The wind shifted then, bringing with it the faint smell of burning metal. Somewhere far away, thunder cracked again. But it wasn't thunder. It was SMOKEFANG's roar, echoing through the valley like a promise of death. By nightfall, the mist had stretched beyond the jungle, a crawling grey wall drifting over the rivers, swallowing the bridges, and creeping toward Valdora city. From a distance, the skyline looked beautiful, neon towers glowing through the fog, lights shimmering like fireflies. But beneath that beauty, fear was spreading. At the city's emergency control center, alarms wailed. Drones sent into the jungle had lost signal, and now, one by one, the outposts were going dark. Helicopters vanished from radar. Something massive was moving down the river. Something alive. Dr. Helena Cross stood before a giant digital map. Her face was pale. "It's following the current," she said softly. "It's using the river as a path." Captain Rivas clenched his fists. "Then we trap it before it reaches the dam." But it was already too late. The ground shook, not from an earthquake, but from footsteps. Deep, slow, and heavy. The kind of sound that echoed inside the bones. Then came the smoke. Thick grey fog rolled into the lower districts, swallowing streets and cars. Lights flickered and died. Power lines snapped under the heat. The entire city dimmed in seconds, leaving only the faint glow of emergency sirens. From the darkness came a roar, longer, louder, and closer than ever before. Windows shattered, people screamed. And then, through the smoke, the shape appeared. SMOKEFANG Dino. Its sail-like back glowed with fiery cracks as it rose above the skyline. Its body was covered in molten scales that shimmered like wet armor. Smoke poured from its nostrils, wrapping buildings in swirling ash. Every breath it took sent shock waves through the air. The first missile hit its shoulder, an explosion bright enough to light the clouds. But when the smoke cleared, the beast barely flinched. It turned its head slowly, eyes glowing brighter, as if anger itself burned inside them. With one swipe of its tail, it crushed